G'day everyone, Jason Nunn from Fisherman's Warehouse Marine, Sweet Street, Warners Bay, your Newcastle Honda marine dealer. Down on the lake today, guys, nor'west winds. That is the trend, particularly today, Thursday, but Friday, Saturday, nor'west winds. Sou'west change coming through on Sunday and some big seas developing late Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week. Totally blown out at this stage. Strong southerly wind seas, possibly 4 to 5 metres. Really got to enjoy it while we can, I reckon. Reports coming in from this week out wide, a few boats, particularly Tuesday was the better of the days, even though it was still a bit sloppy out there, went wide. Look, nothing really happened off our part of the coastline. There was a report of an albacore getting caught. I think it was more south of the southern canyons. Sydney, bluefin still mixed in with some yellowfin, but no yellowfin up on that temp break. There was basically a bit up off the bay, probably in and around about 32.58. There was a 2-degree gradient on that temp drop, but didn't produce any fish. And those that went over the back of the southern canyons looking for those bluefin that really should have been there did not find any. So it's just these mixed results that are happening. So hopefully this big swell gets out of the way from next week. Next weekend, hopefully we get a perfect weekend, which is certainly due for one, and a lot more guys get out and we start to get some better results. The farm down to the Texas guys, not a lot of fish activity down on the Texas. Had a report out of Tuesday. Jason sent me a text. No kings down on the Texas. They could see them, they could marking them, but nothing really happening. And they even had live baits, and it was just not happening at all. I think back on out on the Catherine Hill Bay farm and the North farm, those areas there, still worth a crack at a few snapper. And these nor'west winds won't be too bad. It's just Sunday that sou'wester comes in and just kicks it all to death. A few showers predicted over the next couple of days as well, but in and around that, it shouldn't be too bad. The inshore fishery, I think, guys, is where it's at. A lot more snapper activity this time of year, particularly up towards Broughton Island. Certainly Searles Rock, some very good snapper getting caught up there. But we've got coastally a lot of reds getting caught on those inshore reefs, and a lot of fish, 35s to 45s, the odd 55 mixed in with them. But there's a bit of diversity there, and there's a few flatties, and obviously a few trevally, because that water definitely is starting to get cooler. Beaches itself, a lot of salmon around. Coastally, a lot of salmon, which is, look, great to see because they're a great sports fish, but there's a few good tailor mixed in them, and those guys that are getting down to the rocks are really getting the better results on tailor. And some very, very good tailor south of Swansea down on those rock platforms there, very early in the morning, I might add, but some really good tailor getting caught. A lot of brim and a big build up now of luderick. A lot of luderick off the rocks, but there's a lot more luderick coming into the estuaries, which you would expect at this time of year. And again, a lot of drummer. And look, with that big swell coming around next week, guys, if you're thinking of doing any blackfish fishing and chasing some of these fish within Newcastle or even in Lucy's Wall as a result of that big swell, you're going to have to get down to those rock platforms in the next couple of days, so you can get a bit of weed or a bit of cabbage and just mix it up, because weed itself around all of the drains is very, very hard to get at this point in time. Salts Bay this week, there was about 6 or 7 boats over there yesterday. A lot of salmon have moved in. Steve Riley gave me a call, actively working the surface, those salmon. So that tide isn't too bad. See, tomorrow being basically 12:15 high tide and a 6 o'clock low. So if you've got Friday off and obviously into Saturday, Salts Bay looking good for some action on some salmon. There's also been some trevally over there and a really good run of brim, but in particular, this brim run is definitely of an evening, and that evening brim run, not only in the estuary itself, but within the channel and certainly Salts Bay or down towards the drop over, but in the lake. A few guys reporting and give me a couple of calls about not doing so well bait fishing through the day. This time of year, guys, July, certainly into August, you've got to fish the evenings, and a lot of the guys that are catching these really good brim just on dark into around about 8 or 9 o'clock. And it's, look, obviously you just rug up. Oily based baits, you're fishing within the lake itself, just the weight of the bait and a good burley stream. If you're going to fish around the drop over and try to fish that run-in tide as it's ripping in through there, then you're going to need to put a little bit of weight on, but you've got a burley. So, you know, the drop over, certainly down towards Nesca Park, but this time of year, the southern end of the lake, down around Waioe, Sunshine, those areas, even Wangi, will produce fish, but you'll have to do it after dark. Don't expect too much before dark. Surprisingly enough, there's still plenty of blue swimmer crabs around. And Bobby Mowbray sent me another photo, still waiting for a few crabs, plenty of photos of some cracking crabs that he got this week. And this is where it's all about. Not a lot of people putting pots out at the moment, so there's certainly less pressure, but the quality of the crab is outstanding. They're all metered up, they're all big blueies, but they're in this deep water. It's 8 to 9 metres, so there is that advantage where you can go out there, have a trial or drift for a flathead or have a bit of fish and put a couple of pots in, and you'll probably get rewarded with some very nice crabs. Now, Justin Worley, one of our good mates, he was out this week again, flathead, tailor, and the mulloway, and even a legal red in on these bait schools. And this is what we're seeing, that triangle area, Wangi to Fishing Point, across the Coal Point. This time of year, it produces a lot of very, very good tailor, and that is indeed what's going on. One of our good mates, Ray Scully, was out there, some beautiful fish getting caught, and again, trolling. And most of the guys I'm talking to that are trolling the bigger tailor up are not finding them on bait. They're on the bottom and they're away from the bait. So you've got to get around and put them down. And we've talked about it, tail dancers, halcos, we've been through it a million times. You've got to get down deep or put that big bonker on, put a gar and even troll gars and pilchards right on the bottom and as slow as you physically can. The advantage to doing this, obviously we're chasing tailor, but you've got plenty of bycatch there, flathead, mulloway, and of course those lake reds will always take baits and lures slow trolled on the bottom. Haven't heard much about kings, guys. I know there's been a little bit of activity down at the bridge, but it's mainly salmon and it's mainly tailor. But these ludric now are starting to move in the system. There's quite a few guys fishing, you know, around the entrance of Black Ned's Bay, and they've been fishing in front of the, well, basically in front of the Baker's Den down there in front of Blacksmith's, or getting around and up near this, basically the pool at Swansea. So there's a lot more estuary fishing going on for blackfish, and that has continued where Port Stephens has got quite a number of ludric happening there. And obviously in Newcastle Harbour, not something that to be forgotten, there are quite a few ludric getting caught in Newcastle Harbour, and of course we've seen a few posts, particularly this week, estuary perch and the odd mulloway within that vicinity. And when those southerly winds are blowing, that is the perfect area to get a little bit of protection. All in all, guys, I think you've just got to get out there. This northwest wind, it's not too bad, but it will blow for the next couple of days. Sunday onwards, absolutely horrible. If you're going to make the most of it, do it tomorrow and Saturday, because it's going to go to a big poo heap next week. I'll see you then.